Imagine a university that was for over 700 years the absolute center of learning for the entire world. We're talking about a place with 10,000 students from all over Asia, a library with 9 million books, and scholars who were literally changing the world. And no, this wasn't somewhere in Europe. This was Nalanda, in ancient India. And this is the story of its unbelievable rise and its tragic fall. Okay, so to really get a sense of just how ancient Nalanda was, take a look at this. It was founded way back in 427 CE. That means it existed before Europe's oldest university, the University of Bologna, for more than 600 years. It's older than Oxford by over half a millennium. I mean, we are talking about a level of organized learning that was just completely unheard of anywhere else on the planet at the time. And this wasn't some quiet little monastery. Nope. Nalanda was a buzzing, sprawling city of intellect. At its peak, it was home to 10,000 students. Think about that for a second. Aspiring minds made the journey from as far away as China, Korea, Japan, Tibet, even Afghanistan, all to study here. It was, for all intents and purposes, the world's first massive international residential university.
And the library. Oh, the library. It's estimated to have housed 9 million handwritten manuscripts. 9 million! This was the single richest collection of Buddhist wisdom and secular knowledge in the world. It was an intellectual treasure chest that we can honestly barely even imagine today.
And this wasn't just some flash in the pan. Nalanda was a powerhouse of learning for over 700 years. It thrived under multiple empires, from the Guptas to the Palas. It was this constant beacon of knowledge, operating for longer than many modern countries have even existed. Pretty incredible. So, what was it that made Nalanda the undisputed Ivy League of its time? What was it actually like to be there, walking those halls of learning? All right, let's dive in and take a look inside this truly revolutionary place. Well, for starters, the curriculum was just astonishingly broad. This wasn't just a place to study religion. I mean, sure, they dove deep into Buddhist scriptures, but they also taught all these secular subjects. Students were learning logic, grammar, astronomy, metaphysics, and even medicine, specifically the ancient healing system of Ayurveda. This mix of the spiritual and the scientific was totally groundbreaking. Naturally, a place like this attracted the best and the brightest. Aryabhata, one of the most important mathematicians in history, is thought to have been the head of Nalanda. This is the guy who pioneered the concept of zero as a number. The idea that's the foundation for all modern computing? He also figured out that the moon reflects light from the sun. These weren't just theories, these were world-altering discoveries happening right here. And yeah, getting into Nalanda was tough. Just like with today's top schools, the competition was fierce. You couldn't just sign up. Aspiring students had to go through these intense oral exams with the top professors. Only the sharpest minds got in. But if you were one of the lucky ones, you got to learn directly from the most respected scholars of the age.
But Nalanda's impact wasn't just contained within its walls. No, it was more like an engine of culture and intellect, sending ideas and brilliant minds radiating out across the known world. It built a legacy that would go on to shape an entire continent. I mean, you can't really get a more powerful endorsement than this, right? The Dalai Lama himself says that Nalanda is the wellspring of modern Buddhist knowledge. For centuries, Nalanda wasn't just a center for Buddhism, it was the center, shaping the religion as it spread across Asia. And here is a perfect example of that influence in action. There was this famous Chinese monk Xuanzang who studied at Nalanda. When he finally went back home, he took with him a wagon, literally loaded with 657 different texts. He then spent the rest of his life translating them, and that work was so important that he's basically credited with bringing Buddhism to East Asia. He fundamentally shaped the religion in China, Japan, and beyond.
And the influence went way beyond just philosophy. The unique art styles developed at Nalanda influenced religious art all the way in Thailand. Its metalworking techniques traveled to Tibet. The medical system of Ayurveda, refined right here, was spread by its graduates. Even the campus design itself, with its open courtyards, became a model for other learning institutions across Asia. But this golden era, an era that lasted for centuries, came to an absolutely devastating and violent end. The story of Nalanda's destruction is, unfortunately, just as epic as its history is glorious. So how does something this huge, this important, this monumental, just disappear from the face of the earth? Well, the short answer is fire and conquest. To really feel the loss, you have to try and picture the library. One of its main buildings was a massive 9-story structure.
A Tibetan scholar who saw it actually described it as soaring into the clouds. This building was the physical heart of Nalanda's intellectual power, holding millions of irreplaceable manuscripts.
So, in the 1190s, the university was attacked by invaders. They set the great library on fire, and the campus was so vast, the collection of manuscripts so enormous, that the fire is said to have burned, without stopping, for 3 months. Just an absolutely catastrophic, irreversible loss of human knowledge.
For centuries after that, Nalanda was just gone. It was lost to the world, buried under dirt and forgotten. But its story doesn't end in ashes. Let's look at how this incredible legacy was finally brought back into the light.
What's interesting is that Nalanda had actually survived attacks before and had been rebuilt. But that invasion in the 1190s, that was the final blow. After that, it lay buried for over 600 years, until 1861, when its ruins were finally identified by archaeologists. And today, thankfully, it's recognized for what it was, a priceless piece of our shared human history and a protected UNESCO World Heritage Site.
If you walk through the excavated ruins today, you can still feel the immense scale of the place. And what's been uncovered is only a fraction of the original campus. You can see the outlines of monasteries, giant lecture halls, and temples. It's this really powerful reminder of a lost world of knowledge, a world we are still slowly piecing back together.
And all of this leaves us with a final, kind of haunting question. We know about some of the incredible math and philosophy that came out of Nalanda. But what else was in those 9 million books? What breakthroughs in medicine? What discoveries in astronomy? What new ideas in logic were just turned to ash? That's the profound legacy of Nalanda. Not just the incredible knowledge it gave the world, but the immeasurable knowledge that we all lost when it was destroyed.